man, sure. So PTC Cast episode 2, you're in the gym.
I'm in the gym.
You specifically, definitely not me.
Oh no.
There's a big barbell on the ground. There's probably like 5 plates on each side of that. There's 6 plates.
Oh shit. 8 plates.
Sure, 8 plates. However many plates do you want, man?
Goddamn 12 plates.
They could be 2.5 pound plates. They got to be 45 pound plates.
Yeah.
Why are you picking that up? What entices you to pick that up?
See, okay. We obviously knew what we were talking about before this podcast. I had a couple seconds to think about it. I said I didn't know my why, but I think deep down, I've always known my why, and I've tried to figure out some very meaningful reason as to why I do what I do.
I don't think it needs to be that deep if it's not.
I've always tried to make it deep, but it's not. I like the feeling of raw emotion and just straight up power.
Yeah.
And just the feeling of aggressiveness.
Yeah.
And I guess just unlimited power. Like whenever I get ready to squat, bench, deadlift,
sure,
anything heavy, I have this just feeling of invincibility.
Okay.
And that whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm the best at it, and whatever weight it is, I can do it no matter what.
So are you considering it a drug or an outlet?
I don't think it's an outlet.
Okay.
I think that's a really good question, man. It's definitely a drug.
Right.
It definitely is.
Right. Well, I know that's what it is for me, and maybe for different reasons. Like, I know personally I feel much different, and I shouldn't maybe say about myself, but the way I portray myself in the world and the way I go out through the world, depending on the kind of shape I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way I approach, like if I look like shit and I'm performing like shit and I'm, a little heavier than I should be, something like that, my business goes to shit, my relationships go to shit, my sleep goes. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's oddly like my foundation. And so that's why, like, anytime I feel like I need an extra kick in the ass, that's why I sign up for a show.
Mm.
Because it's like I have to dial that in.
It puts everything in line.
Yeah, and it's almost like, you know how people talk about things like a morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
And having a morning routine and then I have my fair share of morning routines, but a morning routine to sort of set the tone of your day. Like I look at lifting, fitness, health, and wellness as like the routine to set my life in order. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
So I look at it as a drug in that way, because without it, I feel like I kind of fall apart. And I don't know if it necessarily has to be bodybuilding. It could be, yoga, it could be something totally different, but it's definitely like it's a foundational piece for me. It's not something that I want to go without. It's not a chore for me.
Yeah, so you're a very A plus B equals C and just very strict. And
sure.
I don't know the right word to say, but you're saying that you use your physical goals, like whatever that may be, like you said, bodybuilding, yoga, whatever, strictly for creating a framework in your life.
Yeah, and I mean, not that I don't enjoy it, and I do love it, but I
guess that's what I was.
I 100% love it and enjoy it. But I think that's the reason it's become as large of my life as it has, and why I've pursued it as a career as well.
So it's a positive thing for you.
100%. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's some times where you have an injury, or you're in a state where maybe you're sick and you want to train and you shouldn't. There's always stuff like that, and there's aspects of bodybuilding and powerlifting and all sports that are so extreme that aren't necessarily healthy that you have to admit to and you have to acknowledge. But for the most part, I would say it beats sitting on the couch.
Yeah, 100%.
So for me personally, it's not necessarily, okay, maybe it is a matter of motivation. It motivates me because I know hey, even if I don't want to do this thing and I do this thing, it's going to help me set my path a little bit more.
Yeah, it provides more structure.
Yeah.
For the day, actual day.
Yeah.
And, however many months down the road, because it's almost like you have this end goal, and now because you have this end goal, you have this structure that you have to prioritize in order to meet that end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I guess in your case, physical fitness is what provides the necessity for that structure.
Right.
For me, it's the exact opposite.
Okay.
And maybe it may be like my perception
Right.
of I guess the fact that lifting would be a drug for me.
Sure.
Because I can get carried away with it.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I'm struggling with right now, is the fact that I am getting stronger and all of this. I have to constantly keep myself in check when it comes to not eating more, so I can prep for, you know, tomorrow's squat session.
Yeah.
So that I can squat more. And that's why it's a drug to me, because that feeling of power and blah blah blah, the future potential of that feeling makes me want to sacrifice the present.
Right.
In a negative way.
Right.
So
and I mean, you know, when you got up to that 400 pounds point,
that's
I imagine that's
perfect case for that.
Right. Well, it's like, you know, and in your brain, and I've done my fair share of stupid, dirty bulking, not as successful as yours, just as far as outcome goes. But like,
was it successful?
I don't know, it depends who you ask. But I mean, you know, when you look at it from a standpoint of like, did you get what you wanted out of it? I would say, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But personally, like, I just got fat when I overbulked the first time. Like, I didn't. I don't think I built that much tissue. Like, I think I just got fat. But where I was going with that is like, it's interesting, right? Because in the moment, like, you're willing to sacrifice your health. You're willing to sacrifice all of this just because of, you know, the feeling that drug is bringing you, right? It's like, and at that point, it's like, how is it any different than heroin? How is it any different than anything like that? And it's like, you know, when you're taking it to that extreme, I don't really think it is. I don't think it's very different as far as your reliance on it and what you're willing to sacrifice for it. But to circle back, like, it's also that formation of discipline, that structured plan that it takes you to get there. And, you know, in my opinion, had you never gotten that heavy, you wouldn't have ended up as lean and healthy as you are now. You know, I think it was just part of your journey to get there.
I like the thought of that, but I don't think that's true. I think right now I'm paying for the consequences of those actions, which first of all, like, I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to pay those consequences because
it's a trade you made.
Yeah. Like, I'd rather be paying these consequences now than being dead and not being in my family's life, because, you know, I decided to keep on getting bigger and lifting more. Like, I'm proud of these, I'm not proud of it, but I live with these consequences. It is what it is.
You knew the trade you were making.
Yeah, now I do. At the time I didn't, you know, and that's why I gained, you know, the 220 pounds. It's because I didn't know the consequences, or I was ignoring those consequences.
Yeah. And do you think that's some form of instant gratification would be the wrong term, but like...
That's what it was. No, that's not the...
Yeah.
Because, again, it goes back to the feeling of feeling powerful when you're under that bar or lifting. You know, I was looking forward to tomorrow instead of looking forward 5-10 years down the future.
Yeah.
Like, I can promise you, when I was that big, I did not think a year ahead when it came to all the other responsibilities in my life besides lifting.
Right.
Like, I just didn't. And maybe that goes back to, you know, what you were talking about earlier, the sacrificing. It's like, what are you sacrificing?
Right.
There's good things to sacrifice, and there's detrimental things to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Are you sacrificing, you know, things that'll make your life worse, whether that be like sweets or bad relationships, or instant or current comfort, which are good sacrifices?
Right.
Or are you sacrificing your health, your financial well-being, your career, your relationships, your good relationships,
right,
for a good feeling right now? Those are detrimental sacrifices.
Yeah, just that drug, that power feeling. And I like that you said, you know, it's, you pick your sacrifice, right? It's just like, man, you pick your poison, man. You get to choose, man. And it's the same thing as waking up early, right? Like, it's like you either get to you choose to have a hold on your day and get up early and get started and have the time you need to do the things you need to do, or you choose to sleep in and you don't get to do those things, and then you're scrambling all day. And
Exactly.
It's just, you can call one good or bad, but at the end of the day, it's just a choice.
Yeah.
It's just a choice. But no, I mean, I would agree with you in that one is, yes, maybe good or bad, but it's like, it's interesting that it's not like we're all in on one thing, always perfect. It's like you have to continually make that choice every single day, no matter who you are. Maybe you get better at it. Maybe it becomes second nature. Maybe you don't even think about it. Maybe some people, the other choice isn't even an option, but like it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
You can always skip your workout. You can always, hit McDonald's or Taco Bell on the way home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always, you always have to make that choice to stay on the path.
Yeah, and I think it gets unhealthy when it becomes an obsession. And there's, obsessions that are better than others. Like, I'm sure that having an obsession with a business would be better than having an obsession with powerlifting, just because of what it affects in your life. Like with business, it'll bring wealth, it'll bring power, it'll bring, status, whatever the heck you're looking for.
Sure.
But like in my case, being obsessed with powerlifting brought like unhealthy habits. It brought, like I said earlier, sacrificing bad relationships. But I guess just make sure that whatever you are obsessed with, like just take a look at the other parts of your life and just ask yourself if it's worth it.
What are you getting from it? What are you giving for it?
Yeah, man.
And I think a lot of the times, like, I don't know, when you're in it, like you were with powerlifting, it's hard to recognize that. It's one of those things where you have to be able to really...
When you're obsessed, you're not going to recognize it. Like, even if somebody else on the outside who's looking at you tells you exactly what's wrong, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be some kind of...
They don't think like you do.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of self-realization. You have to realize what you're sacrificing. You have to realize those consequences. Nobody can do it for you.
Yeah.
They may be able to influence a aha moment.
Right.
But it's ultimately, your fate is ultimately up to you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, something that's on the topic of like training motivation, like for me, it's goal setting, right? So it's trying to be sure that there's always something you're inching towards, you're following through for. But to your point, like you can let it get out of hand, man. You can chase it down this ridiculous rabbit hole of where it doesn't need to go, or you can be willing.
It's a fun rabbit hole.
Yeah, and you can be willing to sacrifice your health or whatever for it, But so it's like, how do we create those goals and keep those parameters? And it's like by taking realistic looks at where you are, what you're doing, how it's affecting your relationships, your health, the things around you, your finances. Like, if it's one of those things where like, yeah, bro, I got an 800-pound deadlift, but my heart rate's 120 resting and 400 pounds and all these things. It's like, what does that mean? Yeah, is it worth it?
Yeah, choose your goals wisely.
Sure.
Because there are some half-assed goals that you may not believe in.
Yeah.
And those won't really affect any part of your life. But if you choose a goal, and you like wholeheartedly believe in that goal and you're ready to work for it, then that's gonna become your obsession.
Right.
So when it comes to goals, how do you pick the right one, or is there even a right goal to pick?
Like in training and health and wellness specifically for me, usually I try to keep it really simple and almost just like a stepping stone, unless I have something big on the menu like a show or something like that. But for me, it's usually just having some sort of stepping stone. So it's like, hey, I did 205 for 6 reps today. Next week I want 7 reps.
Yeah.
Next week I want 8 reps. Like it's a pretty micro scale for me, because number one, that keeps pressure low and that it keeps victories high. As far as like, that might be a silly way to say it, but it's like, if I
build confidence and assurance in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's also one of those things too, where it's like, it's not going to make or break me. It's like, if I don't hit that rep, it's not a huge deal. There's not a whole lot of pressure tied to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally, like that's kind of how I inch myself forward, And then once in the blue moon, I set hey, I'm doing a show. I'm doing something that's a little bit more accountable. I'm doing something that's a little bit more like on point. Like trying to, when I was getting in shape for taking pictures for the ad program, it was like, that's something that's like a little bit more, hey, there's this date, you got to be there, you got to be in shape, you got to look a certain way. Like there's something a little bit more tangible. So I think some people need that. And like, I like I had said earlier, like when I feel like I really need something to kickstart me a little bit, that's usually when I know like, hey, it's time to have something a little bit more accountable, a little bit more tangible, a little bit more competitive.
Got you. So
what about you?
Well, real quick, whenever you create those small goals, it doesn't lead up to a big goal?
I think it does over time, man, but I don't know. I've always been like I guess I'm a dreamer in some regards, but I keep my head down.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
It's all about the results.
Right. Well, and it's not even necessarily about the results, it's about the process.
Yeah.
And it's like if you trust in the process, you find results.
Gotcha.
Every time. Because it's how can you not?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, okay, if I keep my head down and I do what I need to do, I'm going to get what I need.
Got you. Because the way that I always did it was I would create a end goal that was, that I desired enough. And then I would do exactly like you're talking about, like the little micro goals.
Yeah.
But they would lead up to the end goal.
Right.
And so hopefully, obviously, if planned right, all of that is going to lead to the macro goal.
Yeah.
But those little checkpoints build that confidence and that assurance along the way.
Yeah.
So that whenever that end goal is in reach, you're at like supreme confidence level.
Yeah. And that's a great point, because I don't do a whole lot of that big picture thing. I always just like go day by day, and I'm like grinding through it and working through it and working through it. And, sometimes I've even found myself in points like, when quite honestly, my goal was just to train as much as I could and bring in as much cash as I could. Like I sort of reached a point where I was doing like 60 sessions a week, and between business development and driving and everything, I was probably working like 85, 80, 90 hours a week. And it was like, oh, that's cool. But, I haven't worked out, so I look like shit. I feel like shit. My relationship's falling apart because I don't have any
that
time
obsession thing that we
exactly. So it's like I'm someone who, like, I think keeping my head down, it can be dangerous. So I do need to work a little bit more on that like big picture thing.
Mm-hmm. That
as far as like, okay, how do I maneuver in a way that I'm not having to give up everything else that I love in my life to get there, to get the certain income I want, the certain body weight I want, the body fat percentage, the lift that I want. Does that make sense?
It does. I wonder if there's a good in between. And I guess the only reason why I say that is because the big picture goal setting has only worked for me when it comes to fitness.
Really?
That's all. And that may be like a mindset thing, but outside of fitness,
you think
big dream goal setting just hasn't worked out, man.
You think it's the simplicity of fitness? Because fitness is a lot of X's and O's, man.
I think so, because like fitness has always been very like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And like you do this for this long, you're gonna get this result.
Yeah. Because to me, it's a lot simpler to put 100 pounds on your bench than it is to add $100,000 to what you're making a year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Is it?
I think it's a lot simpler, because the thing is, I mean, and maybe, as far as like business development and things like that goes, like, yes, you follow the steps for long enough, eventually you see the result. But like with fitness, man, a lot of it is A plus B equals C.
Mm-hmm.
If you can move a certain way, if you can provide yourself the right nutrients, if you can monitor your recovery, you can get wherever you want to go.
I wonder if that's because, we're
to some extent.
Yeah. I wonder if that's because we're like very, very knowledgeable, and I'd say we're experts in our field of fitness.
Yeah.
And so to us, it's very no-brainer. And I guess the reason why I say that is because I've talked to plenty of people that have no idea where to start, how to like do stuff, and how to get that end result.
Yeah.
When like to me, and I'm sure it would be to you too, it's like, well, what are you talking about? All you got to do is this.
Yeah.
And you would get it within this period of time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a first language thing. Like it's like you said no brainer. Like it's a simplicity thing, But I think like, I think there's a little bit more of a detailed science to it. You know what I mean? There's a little bit more of like doing your research and you'll get the exact results.
What do you mean?
With health and wellness or with fitness.
Yeah.
Right. So just like, hey, I want to bench 225. Well, first I probably gotta be able to bench 185 for a couple reps. Well, first I gotta be able to bench 185.
Yeah, just like the prerequisites.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe I'm not thinking about the prerequisites in other parts of my life.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is I feel like the checkpoints are a little bit more, it's just all more tangible. Like there's literally numbers you can put to it, or there's literally calories you could put to it, or you know what I mean?
I think that's what it is. It's the tangible. Like, obviously when it comes to lifting, it's literally tangible.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like counting calories, like you can see it.
Right.
In MyFitnessPal or whatever. Like, right. It's easier to follow, I guess. But then I'm sure like for affiliates or whatever the heck other businesses that they're like making money.
Yeah, they're like, it's simple. That's super simple. But that's become like our second language, you know? And it's like you're trying to figure that out too. But I think, you know, for a lot of people that training motivation, like you for sure have to have goal setting, or you at least, you know, to whatever scale, whether that's year out, month out, you know, day out. I think you do need to have checkpoints, like you said, or like small things, because otherwise you're not giving yourself any victories. You're not taking in any of your glory. And I think that's pretty important. Like I have some people who, you know, lose 10 pounds and it's like, how sweet, I lost 10 pounds, but it's not 20 pounds.
Oh,
you know, it's like, yeah, motherfucker, but it's 10 pounds. Like, that's awesome. You did that. Like,
yeah.
Like, don't.
You have to be proud of those and like excited about those. I mean, if you're not about the weight loss, then find something else that'll like get you excited. Because that right there, that spike of whatever it is, I guess like dopamine.
Yeah.
That is like the best feeling ever. And then it's going to fuel you for the next little checkpoint.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to at least tell you that you're doing the right things, that your steps are paying off, you know? And I think when you have the small checkpoints, it can make your goal setting a little bit more realistic too.
Yeah, 100%. Because you're actually seeing results.
Yeah.
And you're making it tangible.
Because if, you know, I had, you know, let's say I wanted to be Mr. Olympia and I want to do that in a year. It's like, well, my checkpoints are like, well, you got to win this pro show, you got to be this size, you got to be, you know, and it's like, well, I probably can't hit that many checkpoints in a year. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more like, it just makes it a little bit more realistic.
Can you hit those checkpoints in a year?
No, I can't be Mr. Olympia in a year. I don't think I picked the right parents for that, but who knows? But no. I mean, but seriously though, like I think that those micro steps, those small victories are such a huge part of the process because, you know, me personally, like, yes, I do need those big goals, but a lot of the times it's the micro goals that just, I don't even want to say keep me entertained, but like, I don't miss a lot of workouts, man. And I haven't for the past 8-10 years.
Yeah,
and it's just,
I don't think we ever will.
Well, and it's just because like it's those micro goals. It's like it's that.
Well, now I'm sure
I did that.
Yeah,
I did that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And now I'm sure it's just a habit in our lives.
Yeah, which fair enough.
Like we don't even think about like if we go on vacation or something. It's like I should be lifting.
Yeah, it's like I want to work out, but but for like an average Joe to get there, like it definitely takes that. I think, you know, it takes that goal setting, that achievement feeling, that positive, you know, dopamine hit of like. Oh yeah, I'm doing this. I can continue to do this. I'm taking the right steps. I'm moving in the right direction. This can be a victory. I can achieve this. Yeah. You know, so I think that's just a huge part. And like, you know, something that I think is a huge piece of that a lot of people tend to overlook is your environment and people you surround yourself with and the things you put into your brain and the things that you know, want to be around. Right? Because it's like, if you're someone who's looking to lose, you know, 100 pounds, but your significant other has 150 pounds to lose and has no interest in losing any, like maybe you're in the wrong environment. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, or if you're, gosh, I don't know. I can't think of any other example off the top of my head, but
I know that
you have to put yourself in a place that you can actually do that. That you know, you're not challenging yourself too much. So,
yeah. Whenever people ask me about achieving their goals, the first thing that I say is saturate your environment with things that relate to that goal. And it could be as simple as, I mean, honestly, it goes down to like research when it comes to reaching those goals and setting your environment to those goals. Like, for example, when I lost all that weight, What did I do? I started listening to David Goggins every day, almost all day. And his big thing was losing weight.
Yeah.
So all day I had that in my brain. David Goggins' story about losing weight, boom, boom, boom. And then not only that, I would talk to you about calorie consumption and workouts that I'd be able to do.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I put in my environment. Some more knowledge that I put in my environment when it comes to that goal.
100%.
And then another thing, my fitness pal. I started counting my calories. Boom, another thing in my environment.
Yeah, you are what you consume, man. You become these things that are your habits, that are your, you quite literally are your habits. So it's like if you make a habit of things like that, you make it easier on yourself.
Because
you make it a thing you do. You don't make it this weird foreign subject or topic or issue. Like you make it a part of your life and who you are and what you do.
Yeah, it keeps you from having to use too much energy to make simple decisions. Like another thing that I did was I put an elliptical instead of downstairs in the garage. I literally carried it upstairs into my room.
Yeah.
And I put it in the middle of my room.
Yeah.
And I moved my TV right in front of that elliptical. So boom, now whenever I wanted to watch YouTube, which I gifted myself, all I had to do was just get on the elliptical.
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, instead of me riding the elliptical, 10 minutes every morning, I was in my room for hours on end on the elliptical.
Yeah. What
did you change? Your environment.
Yeah.
All you did was just make it easier for you to make that beneficial decision.
Yeah. You took it from sitting in the garage where you'd never see it, or you'd have to, think and go out of your way to get to it, to literally being at the foot of your bed.
Yeah. Like literally have it, whatever it is you're trying to do, have it in front of you at all times. When I was losing that weight, I had things that would cue the thought of weight loss everywhere. And like on my home screen was the MyFitnessPal app. Just saturate your environment with whatever you're trying to achieve. So when it comes to like your goals, pick a time where you saturated your environment, I guess, with trying to achieve that goal. Or is that how you mess with your environment?
What do you mean?
Like, do you also follow that principle when it comes to achieving your goals and saturating your environment? Yeah.
So the saturating your environment thing, one thing that I had done when I was prepping for my last show in 2018, I scheduled a client every single day for the last 10 weeks of my prep, except when I was like a week out, so I could take some time off and rest and recover. But I scheduled at least one client every single day, so I'd be at the gym every single day.
Oh, that's smart.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if I just had cardio, or even if it was like a rest day or something, like there was never a time where it was off my brain. I was always in that building, and so it was like, if you're there, if I'm already making the drive, if I'm already like, how can I make the excuse of
you might as well.
Right.
It deletes that decision.
Right, 100%. Another big thing for me too, that's I guess maybe more of a habit rather than an environment, but is on the topic of, I guess, consumption and being your habits and who you are, but like taking my weigh in every single day. And like, I use the average. The average is what you need to pay attention to, not the daily number, but that daily number just keeps it in my brain. Just knows that like, hey, first thing in the morning after I take piss, I weigh myself.
Gives you conscious of where you're at.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, the number is going to fluctuate no matter what you do. And that's fine. But it's like, if you see it starting to move, if you're writing it down and it's like, oh, I haven't seen, I've been 168 for a while. I haven't seen a 164 in a while. Like that might be a problem. You know what I mean? So it was that consistency. And I guess for me, the environment creation was more about the adherence, right? The daily dues to keep myself on track, right? It was almost like a metronome. Like it was just like, that's how I stayed in synchronization. Is the habits.
Yeah. It keeps you from having to rely on generating motivation, which isn't there all the time.
Yeah.
Like having a structure in your environment, making your environment just help you reach those goals will eliminate the need for motivating yourself every day, which it is a pain in the ass. Like if you don't have motivation, that day or that week to do what you got to do, it's a pain having to generate it.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of the times it won't even be generated.
Yeah, sometimes, man, it's futile. Like you have to be disciplined. And so like that's where, you can kind of even circle back to the environment topic on that. Is it's like, if you make your discipline as easy as possible, that's huge. Like if you need to get up early every day and you already have 3 alarms set without having to set it right before bed, like they're, on routine set, you're good. That's one less step that you had to take to be disciplined, to be motivated, right? Yeah. And so it's like the environment is a big piece of that, because the more that you create that for yourself, the easier it becomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And making it easier is the best thing for you. Like I remember going back to David Goggins, one thing that he would talk about is whenever he was fat and overweight and he knew that he had to go for a run, he wouldn't think about that. He would just think about getting out of bed. And then he would think about putting his shoes on and tying his shoes. And then awesome. He's like, all right, let me just walk outside. Then he would walk outside and then he'd start just walking. And eventually, you get from your bed to running.
Yep. You just move through it.
Because those hard things, like, waking up and going for a run, I'm not gonna lie, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Like, you just woke up from
but it's not hard to put your shoes on.
It's not hard to do the prerequisites.
Yeah.
I remember the Atomic Habits book. Didn't they talk about it, or didn't James Clear talk about it in one of the chapters?
I wouldn't know off the top of my brain, but yeah, I mean, I know that's a big piece of it. Is it's like the breaking down of those steps to get there. Because if you're in your brain, you're like, oh man, I got a big squat day today, so I gotta put my squat shoes on, I gotta pack my knee sleeves, and then I gotta drive to the gym, and then I gotta do all my warm-ups, and then I gotta put this heavy ass bar on my back. And it's like, well, yeah, man, but if you would just first pack the bag,
or shoot, not even that, like the day before, just sleep 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's something really good to look forward, and you're not going to feel anxious sleeping 8 hours.
Yeah.
Then after that, make sure you eat a good breakfast, a good big breakfast.
Yeah.
That's going to feel good. And then just do the things before so that you don't have to be scared of the big thing.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're doing that big thing without any anxiety, without any stress. You're just doing it.
Right.
And when you get to the point where you're literally just doing it, like the gym, we don't have to remember to go to the gym. We don't have to block going into the gym into our day. It's something that we just do.
Right.
At first, maybe, we had to, make sure that we get to the gym on, certain days, but now it's literally like, it's in what we do. Yeah. It's part of our lives.
Yeah. After you create that habit, but first you have to do yourself the favor of making the discipline as easy as possible.
As easy as possible. Man.
Right. Right. And so to your point, look forward to sleeping 8 hours, look forward to the big breakfast, like all of those things, like make that discipline as easy as possible. And I really like what you said about putting your elliptical in your room. Like, I think that's huge, because that's just such a blaring, like, how are you going to get away from it? Like, even if you don't do it, you're just going to think about it all day. You know what I mean? And then it's like, is that even worth it? Like, is it worth sitting there and thinking about it? No, just do the damn thing.
Yeah, man, just do the damn thing. I mean, so one person that I used to listen to, I don't even want to say his name just because, like, the stuff that he's been saying is crazy. But his thing was do the thing to have the power. And he actually quoted that, I believe, from like Emerson something.
I wouldn't know.
But if you live by that, just do the thing to have the power, then, that'll take all that stress away.
Right.
That'll take all the anxiety away. Just find out what you have to do and just do it. Like, stop thinking about it. Even if it is just a prerequisite, just to putting the shoes on before you go for a run. Just do it.
Just go. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. And it's like everybody wants to say they don't feel like it, or they're tired. Or
don't get your feelings.
Yeah.
If you get your feelings, okay, no. That can be good.
Yeah.
Getting your feelings, like, but there's some times where most of the time it'll just hold you back. Yeah. Like, if you don't feel like getting up from bed, if you don't feel like not eating that donut, if you don't feel like lifting or doing cardio today, then guess what? You know, years from now, you won't be the person that you could have been.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, what do your feelings have to do with it?
What does it have to do with it?
What does the way you feel in the moment have to do with your overarching goal or perception? Like, you know, and when you just keep that in the back of your brain, like they have no power here, you know?
Yep. And you know what I've noticed? Every time that I have had those feelings and I go through the action that was making me feel those feelings, like 10 times out of 10, never fails. I don't even remember how I felt while doing that action.
Yeah.
And if I do remember, it sure as hell wasn't those feelings that I had before.
Yeah.
Not only that stuff is now in the past.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what it is you're feeling, it literally no longer exists.
Well, in regards to feelings too, like I know, like from my last show where I won my class, and I'm sure that I felt hungry and tired, you know, during the whole prep.
But does it matter right now?
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, I don't remember.
Exactly.
I don't remember that. I remember like almost crying on stage because I was so excited.
The
you know?
good feeling.
I remember thinking like, holy shit, man, like this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like that's the part I remember. I don't remember the small feelings that I had to ignore. I remember the big feeling that came from pushing off the instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so it's like when you choose to take that power away from those small voices, those little feelings, those I'm too tired, I don't feel like it, I had a long day at work, or you know, when you choose to
those
take the power,
things.
You take the power away from those and you can detach from those, it all pays off.
Yeah. So when it comes to taking the power away from those things, I think the only thing you can do is act.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is just move.
Yeah.
Just do it.
100%.
There's literally, you can't think your way out of it.
100%.
You can't rationalize your way out of it. It's like, I remember I was boxing and I did 10 2-minute rounds, and I believe on the 5th round or the 6th round, I didn't want to go. Like, I just felt like I couldn't do it, and I had all these negative feelings, all that whatever.
You're tired.
And I said, no, you know what? I'm going to keep on going. And after those 10 rounds were done, I sat there and I thought about it. And that's when I realized, like, those feelings, all they do is hold you back.
Yeah.
They don't have any benefit to
You're
them.
right. Yeah.
All they do is hold you back.
You're right.
So act.
100%.
For me,
100%.
it was swing that arm.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like just
swing
just
the
move
other
it.
arm.
Yeah, stop thinking about it, man. Just move it. Just take, and that's a good point too. Is it's kind of like the prerequisite, right? Like it's like you don't have to box; you just have to swing your arm.
Yeah, swing for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And no, you don't got a 15-second rest to the next round.
You don't even have to do it for 30 seconds. You have to do it once, and then you have to do it once again, then you have to do it once again, then you have to do it once again.
I hate thinking about it like that, though.
I mean, yeah, but like it makes it much more manageable.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
you know,
100%. You got to make it manageable.
Oh yeah, a lot of times when I do cardio, and only if it's like cardio that really sucks, and if I'm not like watching or anything, I'll be like 10 minutes in, and I'll be like, all right, I got 20 minutes left. That means I'm a third of the way in. That means
bro.
I gotta do what I did 2 more times, and then once I'm at 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, I've done half of what I just did last time I thought about this, and now I got to do this.
Isn't that so dumb?
I mean? Yeah.
Like, why is it even like that? Because we're tough. We are tough. But why when it gets to, bro, we're tough. Why does it get to that point where we have to just rationalize with ourselves? And that's what it is playing these dumb games.
Yeah.
We know what's beneficial for us.
Yeah.
We know what we have to do, but we let these feelings try to take, you know, what's ours away from us.
Yeah,
this future self.
That's a great way to put it.
It's trying to take it.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And just prevent us from achieving these great
and that's
things.
with everything, man. I mean, that's with everything.
Yeah, not just lifting.
That's the piece of candy. That's the sleeping in. That's the snooze button. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's all of that is.
I ate a pizza 2 days ago.
I had chicken Alfredo last night.
Yeah, man. And I had a brownie. Yeah, bro. What's wrong with us? We're over here preaching, talking about don't think about your
I
feelings.
don't know, man. Being human, I guess.
Well, hey, how was your workout session though? Was it good?
It was strong.
Did that chicken Alfredo fuel it?
Yeah, it felt good. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, that's how I
bro.
justified it in my brain, right? I was carving up.
Bro, I catch myself doing that. I'm like,
And that's-
well,
and
I got a big
well,
squat
again,
today.
though,
I'm
like,
gonna
that's-
work my ass
Those
off.
are the games we play, man. Those
Yeah.
are the games we play. And that's the thing is, it's like, I don't know. And that's why I was kind of like, maybe you're tough. I'm not. But like, I play these games every day, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's consistently like, and I don't want to use the word a battle because I hate when people are like, I'm going to war with the weights. Like, it's not. But no, I mean, like, for
Weights
me,
don't fight back.
yeah, it's just it's forever a process, man. Like, and I'm sure there's definitely times in my life where I'm better at it and it's less of a battle or whatever you want to call it. But like, yeah, man, I mean, it's a daily thing. It's a daily, like, it's part of it. It's like, and again, to circle back,
It
you
is a
make
fight,
that choice. Yeah, you make that choice. You
But
know?
the fight's all up here.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes you don't make it. Well, then you just you make it next time. You know,
That's all you can.
you don't
do.
make it that time, make it next time.
Yeah.
That's it. Can't beat up on yourself. There's no point in that.
Mm.
Doesn't get you anywhere.
All it does is hold you back even more.
Yeah.
And then it lowers that confidence level. When that confidence level is lowered, you won't be able to achieve
Yeah, 100%. I think it gets harder.
as much as you could be achieving.
Yeah, I think it gets harder the more you make the wrong choice, and I think it gets easier the more you make the right choice.
Yeah, it's like building upon your success.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, obviously, when I first started heavy lifting, I didn't think that I could, lift maybe like 400 pounds more. But as it goes, the more and more success that you achieve, whether it be in fitness, business, whatever,
Yeah.
the more and more opportunities you're gonna find and you're gonna seize.
Yeah.
Because your confidence is all the way up here now.
Yep.
And now it's like, all right, what's next?
Yep.
What can I tackle next? I know that I have the ability to do all these things that I've done before.
Yep.
So now what can I do?
Yep.
Instead of, I failed at, this, and this, and well, actually all of this. So what really can I do?
Right.
Build that confidence.
Right.
Fuck.
100%.
100%.
Cool, man. Let's wrap it up there.
All right,
That's
bro.
good. I like that. PTC Cast episode 2. Thank you all for watching. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments section. Email me at alex@progresstochange.com. I'm Alex Martin. This is Chris Saldana,
Solito Saldana.
the man. All right. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.